Yeah.
We're out there, yeah. The roads. Good evening. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing for the invocation by the Reverend David McMurray of the First Baptist Church of Blackwood. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, Lord, we do pledge allegiance to this flag, to this nation, under you. So we're coming to you and saying, God, would you protect us? Would you help us? Would you guide us? Would you lead us? Would you inform us? In all areas, caring for one another and meeting the community needs and services. And would you guide this town council, mayor's office, and might they get a sense of what would be right for the community, what would be best for the whole. God, would you just bless us and guide us? I would ask this week that you would keep us safe. If anyone has ill intent or malicious motive in this family Halloween celebration, that you would prevent crazy, goofy stuff, God. We're in your hands and we're trusting you to keep us, to protect us. So thank you for your grace. Guide this council. Give us all wisdom. Help us to love one another. In Jesus' name.
Thank you, Reverend McMurray. And also, before you leave, thank you for making available your church for 9/11 services that we had. Thank you very much for you and the minister and what you do for our community.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designates the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice has been provided. This meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using an electronic amplifying and recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record. And we request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly to the microphone. The recording device will be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office and shall be the official record of the Township Council meeting. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison.
Present.
Mr. Owens.
Present.
Mrs. Stokes. Mrs. Winters. Here. Mr. Mignot.
Here.
Mrs. Strada. Here. Mr. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Carlin.
Here.
Mr. Hardis.
Here.
Mr. Leitner.
Here.
Captain Manazzi.
Here.
Mr. Chalba.
We have a resolution 19-10-274 to go into closed session. This is for a workers' comp issue and should take less than 15 minutes. May I have a motion, please? So moved. A second. Thank you. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes.
Mr. Owens.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters. Yes. Mr. Mignot.
Yes.
Mrs. Strada. Yes. Mr. Mercado.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that. I saw the same number, and I asked Stacy, and she didn't give me an answer.
Okay. Coming down now. I just want to make sure we have
That's it? Just a note? Just one, sure. So other than I bet. What do you want? That's right.
Yeah, it's a.
Maybe you can make it, brother. Yeah.
I'm all right at the moment, thank you. All right, yeah. Thank you.
My son, but I'll ask him. No.
Madam Clerk, can I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Mr. Owens?
Present.
Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Leon?
Here.
Mrs. Strato? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present. That was a workers' compensation case where we discussed some settlement amounts to be brought back to the employees in question. Mayor's appointment. Let me read it.
No. There will be a change in command within the Gloucester Township Police Department effective Wednesday, October 30th, 2019, with the retirement of Gloucester Township Police Department Police Chief Harry Earl. Deputy Police Chief David Harkins will be appointed as new Chief of Police.
Bid report.
Snow removal 2019 through 2020, and broker of record health.
I entertain a motion to accept the bids
So moved.
I'll second.
to bid report. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes.
Mr. Owens,
Yes.
Mrs. Winters,
Yes.
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Mrs. Strato,
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes, I'll now open up the public portion. This is for agenda items only. Anyone wish to speak, please raise your hand. Mr. Sweet.
Good evening, Council. Sam Sweet from Ariel. Resolution 1910-280. What's going on, Sherrywood? It says underground, to perform underground environmental testing.
So we received a request in my office, Department of Law, to allow this PT consultant to enter into ground owned by the Township of Gloucester, because there is contaminants on property nearby that's not township property. And the Environmental Protection Agency, DEP or whatever, has directed that they do testing on ground area surrounding it. In order for them to enter the township ground, they need a temporary access consent. That's what this is, to give them consent, so long as they have their insurances in place and any disturbance to the ground is replaced. But it's at no cost to the town, and it's not the town's property that has the contaminants. They're just seeing if the plume extended to other properties.
Does this have anything to do with the article that came out in the patch about the contaminants in the water?
I don't think so. This deals with, there's a property address that's part of the backup information. Blackwood Clemson Road, do you remember?
Yes, Blackwood
Blackwood Clemson Road, they're just studying ground in the area. There's a map attached to it that will be sent information to the governing body as well as the location. And again, it's no cost to the town. They are just ordered to do surrounding properties to see if it's filtered anywhere else.
Okay, just, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the first public portion. We'll now have our resolutions of the consent agenda. Any council member would like to have any of the items removed, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll
Hutchison.
second.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes.
Mr. Owens,
Yes.
Mrs. Winters,
Yes.
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Mrs. Strato,
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes, we did not receive any Gloucester Township eGov access emails. We'll now open up the second public portion. This is for anyone who wish on any item. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Richard Zerbin. I live at 42 Yorkshire Road in Brittany Woods. What motivated me to come here tonight was the incident that happened on the 23rd at 10 minutes to 10 at 40 Yorkshire Road. Was quite the scene. I guess my question is, or my current concern is, Brittany Woods in general has been kind of a sore spot for the township. Are there any plans to maybe generate a bigger police presence in there, or and somehow control what goes on in there a little bit better?
Richard, I think
Yes.
the last few years, there's been a community group that has worked closely with the community policing aspect of our police department. Are you familiar with those?
Oh, I am very much aware of that, yes.
Okay. So they've developed a tremendous rapport with our community policing.
With the little ones.
Excuse me?
Mainly with the little ones, with the kids.
With the little ones.
Yeah.
But also interacting with neighbors, making them aware of the things that are taking place there in Brittany Woods. I know that there has been, and perhaps Captain Manazzi can speak on some of the things that have taken place improvement-wise in respects to policing in that area. Captain?
Well, we do a number of things regarding the community. We do send out our community outreach trucks and vehicle and officers. Even though I know you said children, we also want parents to come out. So it's not just more for the kids. Everybody thinks it's about games and playing with the kids, but it's not. It's about interacting with the community. So that's definitely been scheduled to come out there again in the upcoming weeks, that's for sure. And definitely to speak again more with the community out there. Again, engage the community and show and deter activities out there.
Now, is the police presence, the stepped up police presence is going to be on a temporary basis? Or, because I know people have asked why there isn't more or less a continuous patrol. I know the resources are tight and all of that, but a lot of it could be deterred. Van was over there. It was the day after the last shooting. Came, went, 5 weeks later, 4 weeks later. What I saw, I was unfortunately on scene, and yeah, absolutely not saying unsafe, but the unfortunate part is it's persisted in there for quite some time, and I know I don't speak for anybody else, but I'm be willing to bet the sediment in there is enough's enough already. This needs to be straightened out. I know there's a lot of renters and absentee landlords. I've done what I can. I've put up security cameras and I hand out thumb drives like it's trick or treat. Don't know what else to do. My backyard is lit up like Lincoln Financial Center on Monday Night Football. I don't know what else to do. I'm here pleading with you guys to please, once and for all, let's get serious about this. See what can be done. Thank you. That's all I've got to say.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the second public portion. Sorry. Mr. Krug?
Good evening, Council. Paul Krug, Blackwood Estates.
Good evening.
Hope you all are well. I actually didn't have too much to bring up this evening, but in the mail today, I received a flyer from the FO for Mercado, Trado, Mignon, and Stubbs. And it piqued my interest a little bit because on the back, it talks about attracting businesses helps to stabilize taxes. And during the last meeting, I brought up the financial audit, which was passed into resolution for the financial statements, which show that between 15 and 16, the taxes levied against myself and other citizens were 6.5%. Between 16 and 17, 1.9%. And between 17 and 18, 3.5%. So with the Merriam Dictionary defining stabilize as to keep steady, how are the businesses on this flyer or businesses in the township stabilizing taxes when over a 3-year period we saw a 12% increase in the taxes levied against us?
So stabilizing, holding the line, those businesses that are indicated on the piece of literature that you brought with you today have helped contribute to ease the burden on our residential taxpayers. I'm not sure how long you've lived in our town, but those that have lived here for quite some time, this was a bedroom community for many, many, many years. And over the last, I would say 15 to 20 years, there's been an emphasis on bringing more businesses into our community. Sometimes to the dismay of residents when it comes into particular areas. So those businesses that are located there, I can tell you my first year on council, the Berlin Cross Keys corridor and the shops at Cross Keys, the Target, the Lowe's area, that development that took place there, that was a source of contention for people who lived in those particular neighborhoods. They were private, it was private land, it was developed. If you go by, I was down in that area today because I was leaving a board meeting. You jump off the expressway, and you look to the right and you see the Texas Roadhouse on the Monday night is packed. Those businesses bring people into our community. They spend money here. They help stabilize our taxes. Now, I guess you would not like to see a tax increase. None of us would like to see a tax increase. But the cost of doing business in our town goes up yearly.
Certainly. And you know, I'm a big proponent for economic development within the township, specifically in my, I guess, smaller district of Blackwood. As to your point, I brought this up with the audit last meeting. You had a conflict for that, but the carryover between those years that I mentioned before was $3.1 million into 16, $5.2 million into 17, and $4 million into 18, which would have covered the inflation rate, which combined for 2015, 2016 was 0.7, 16 and 17 was 1.7, and 17 to 18 was 2.25. So we had substantial increases when the inflation rate was quite low. There was a pretty decent carryover from year to year, and these businesses are supposed to be stabilizing the taxpayer. So I guess I'm just a bit confused and would like to know potentially in more detail how those businesses are doing so. But to not give up my time, I'd just like to also comment that this flyer talks about the council continuing, or at least these members continuing to promote economic development, which also piqued my interest because if you remember in my comments from 8/26 of this year, I was a little bit disturbed because, quote unquote, what was said was, I'm not intimately involved in economic development, going out and encouraging businesses to be here. We would love for them to be here, but that's not my role, and that's not the role of council. And that was Mr. Mercado speaking there. And if you remember, I was pretty perturbed by that because I believe we do need the economic development. This flyer is saying that economic development is a role of this council. Is that true?
So when a business comes to us or developer comes to us, we serve as the redevelopment entity. So I'll give you an example. You weren't here at that time, but prior to the shops across, the Gloucester Township Premium Outlets, Gloucester Premium Outlets, they had to come before the redevelopment entity. That redevelopment entity approved a redevelopment agreement with them. That was sent to the planning board. Then that planning board approves that particular project. Then we have a tax rateable for a parcel of land that was roughly 56 acres that generated less than $4,000 in taxes because it was farmland assessed. This council was intimately involved in the economic development of that particular project, the largest economic development project in the township, in the township's history. So we're involved in that capacity. Are we going out contacting the AMC movie theater and say, hey, come to our town? No, that's not our role. We have a role, that's the role of the administration, that's the role of our possibly community development, our economic development board that we have, that's the role that they play. We have an economic development consultant. That's the role that that individual or that firm plays. We don't go knocking on doors or calling people, hey, I think it would be a good idea to put Trader Joe's at the old Kmart.
Does the council oversee the Economic Development Commission and projects such as Blackwood West redevelopment?
If there is a redevelopment issue, and when it comes to a business being placed in that particular area, they have to go in front of the redevelopment entity, which is council.
And so wouldn't it make sense for council to be proactive with the economic development, as in calling Trader Joe's, reaching out to businesses, using the media sources that you have, and also your fellow council members in the county and within the state to help bring economic development to stabilize these taxes and continue moving forward?
Yeah, yes.
That is happening right now, and that's happening with the mayor's office, and that's happening in conjunction with the mayor and the Economic Development Committee that meets. They are reaching out, they are fielding questions, there are continuously businesses contacting us to see if there's opportunities for them to establish in Gloucester Township. The abatements are an attraction. everybody else around us has the abatement, so we need those for competition. But that is happening. Eventually, it does come before the council, but most of that trench work is done with the mayor and the economic development committee.
Tom, if I could tag in, we serve as the legislative side of the branch of government here. We're not involved intimately, I'm using that word again, on a day-to-day basis in that type of activity.
So are the businesses, for example, with Blackwood Plaza, which we've talked about several times, which is now called the Shops at Gloucester Township, the old bank in downtown Blackwood, a lot of the shopping centers along Blackwood Clementon Road, are the businesses coming in, speaking with the commission, speaking with Blackwood West Redevelopment Corp., and just saying, we don't want to do business in this township of 65,000 people, which has a decent median income?
That they don't want to do business, or they want to do
Yes.
business?
I mean, why is Blackwood Plaza, which we've talked about, why is the main tenant there still unfilled after 5 to 6 years of a new developer not, fixing up the center? And it's right next to where Dave & Buster's is going to go and the largest economic development in the township.
Mr. Kruger, I can't answer that. I don't know what they're charging per square foot. I don't know what the terms of the lease would possibly be there. That's a question that I have to ask the owner of that property, why he's not been successful in obtaining an anchor tenant there.
Mr. Krug, there was, down at the end of Choose Landing and Summerdale Road, there was I think it was a liquor store there about 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And they disappeared. It was a prime location. It sat empty for the better part of 10 years. Now you have a fitness, karate studio or something of that nature there. And my wife and I pass it all the time. We're like, why did it remain vacant? It could be anything. It could be that there was a lease in place and somebody continued to pay the lease. Who knows? So in your situation, I don't know why it's vacant, but if the rent is being paid, where's the incentive?
Well, I guess the point is that I understand that there is business to this as well, but I guess what I'm looking for is the commission or this council trying to understand why these places remain vacant for so long, or there is no development among the developers? I know you've made the comment before of, which is now Flames, and you said, we don't know why it keeps becoming a pizza place. I don't know why it keeps becoming a pizza place either, because there's 6 pizza places along there, but at least it's something. But my thought is we need to be reaching out to differentiators. Why don't we have a brewery in the township? Why don't we have pho somewhere in Blackwood or the surrounding area, or a Thai, restaurant, or something differentiating? What I said to Flames when I went there as a customer was, they have a Mediterranean menu. That's a differentiator. That's something that could possibly stick, because it's not one of the 8 pizza places that's along the pike. But we need to have that type of mentality in order to bring the right businesses in that can stick and that can stabilize the taxes, as we've talked about. So,
I think what you're bringing up are excellent ideas. I really do. My wife and I, we talk all the time about, why am I going to Collingswood to get something to eat? So if that's your point, I hear you loud and clear. However, I also do want to tell you, I've had some conversations with solicitors from different towns, and they ask me, how do you guys do it in Gloucester Township? How do you get these businesses, Berlin Cross Keith Road? How do you get the outlets? How are you doing it? So I would suggest to you that a lot is getting done, but a lot needs still to be done.
yes. And a lot of times I look to you. Unfortunately, I've tried to open my schedule for the Economic Development Commission. It's on a Thursday at 9:30 a.m. I have a standing meeting for my full-time job then, so I can't make it to that, so I don't get all of the information. But I hope that we can continue to bring in differentiated businesses that can stabilize the taxes for the citizens of this township, and we make that a priority. I hope this flyer is true. Thank you all for your time tonight.
Thank you. Have a good evening. We'll close public portion. Polling directors.
Mr. Carlemere,
Nothing to report.
Mr. Ordus,
Nothing to report.
Mr. Wagner,
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Captain Manasseh,
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Chadwell,
Your report.
Mr. Hutchison,
Thank you very much for coming out. Be safe this week and keep an eye out for your neighbors.
Mr. Owens,
Thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks to the men and women of the police department as always. And actually have nothing to report.
Mrs. Winters,
It's been a long week, sorry.
I just want to thank everyone for coming out and have a safe, and happy holiday.
Mr. Minio,
Thank you all for coming out and have a great week.
Mrs. Strato,
I just want to congratulate Orlando, the township, the police, everybody that had their hand in the annual trunk or treat festivities Friday night. Once again, it was packed. It was a great night, lots of great feedback. People waited in line a long time for candy, but another great event that the township puts on and invites the community to. And seeing the turnout and a lot of happy faces of the kids, I think it was well worth our effort. So thank you.
Mr. Mercado,
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Thank you again to our police, public works, and the 54 cars that provided candy at our trunk or treat. It was kind of interesting. People are now picnicking or tailgating. I hope it was non-alcoholic beverages in the park. But as they were giving out candy and setting up their trunk. So it's a wonderful event. That's one of the things I enjoy putting on for the township. So thank you very much to those departments. Also, the Food and Beer Craft Festival, which was held this past Saturday. It got a little chilly around 3:30, but it was a wonderful event in downtown Blackwood, and seeing different faces, even people that come from outside of our community to attend this event. So thank you to the organizers of that. Our workshop, it has been postponed to November 6th. The reason why is that the swearing in our new police chief will take place next Monday at 7 o'clock at the Dennis Flyer Theater at Kingdom County College. And that'll take place at 7 o'clock. So therefore, we moved our workshop to November 6th, 7:30 here in the council chambers. And make sure you all vote next Tuesday. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
There's a second. All in favor? Thank you. Have a great evening.
you too, Tom.
Try to get the diabetes.
Redwood Culvert, we're trying to get out. Hughes from, Vicky.
Okay.
This, girl that are